Hello, welcome to another edition of XFeed. Today, we're doing the stream a little bit early because there seems to be a rather large SOS type situation happening out on the timeline. Listen, the forehead looks sweaty, but I haven't done a single damn thing today. But thank you for joining on in. Let's just get into this because it's this is quite the ordeal. So from Charles Goulamé, there's a large-scale supply chain attack in progress. The NPM account of a reputable developer has been compromised. The affected packages have already been downloaded over 1 billion times, meaning the entire JavaScript ecosystem may be at risk. The malicious payload works by silently swapping crypto addresses on the fly to steal funds. If you use a hardware wallet, pay attention to every transaction before signing, and you're safe. If you don't use a hardware wallet, refrain from making any on-chain transactions. For now, it's still unclear whether the attacker is also stealing seeds from software wallets directly at this stage. So that is like a really, really major deal. We have Saigar, who you might be more familiar with, and excuse me, the individual we just looked at a moment ago is the CTO of Ledger itself. If you don't know what Ledger is, that's like the biggest hardware company within crypto. So again, the red flags are going out. If you have anybody within the industry, just tell them, hey, listen, we might not be caught up on things, but like relax for a day. And I'm assuming by tomorrow, we'll kind of have more of an update on what this is. But Saigar says, I would strongly recommend not signing any crypto transactions right now. There is a huge supply chain attack on popular NPM packages that may have compromised various crypto websites. It goes on. There's a whole lot more to it. Gorilla saying, in other words, website and apps are being targeted. Triple check your transactions before signing. So there's your little bit of a warning. How absolutely phenomenal is it that we have people that are out there watching for your safety all the time? We try to bring it up here a lot, and had a very close friend of mine send me a screenshot of an email they got of an OpenSea item that from an email that they hadn't checked in forever. And they were like, oh my goodness, I wish that I seen this email before because I could have potentially sold one of my NFTs for this amount. And I told them right away, nope, that's a scam email. The font's all completely wrong, all of it, but they believed that that was right, true, real. And so even though we bring up security all the time, just remember, it's only you can be the preventer of getting compromised of any sort. So again, the hardware wallet, paying attention to what you're signing. If you follow that, or just simply not doing anything, but remember, nobody's trying to contact you. Don't listen to emails of saying, hey, you have this offer, because sometimes it can look as legit as the real thing. And I think that just email communication of sorts might end up changing because of just the wild compromises that have happened. Because I think it was like I don't know if it was Ledger or Coinbase. I don't want to speak out of turn, because I was going to say Coinbase originally, but it might have been Ledger. I think it was Ledger. That there was some massive compromise of like email lists before. And so if you happen to be in their database or purchase from them in a previous time, you probably still receive to this day numerous, if not calls, emails, all of that. And it's just, not a fan. Jerry Foundation. Yo, when the hell did Jerry change his name to the Jerry Foundation? Kind of funny. Avoided a major scam recently. Let's keep on that same trend. Got contacted by Ava Labs. Similar to many, but also with a totally unique proposition. They wanted to sponsor our show. They reached out saying they were looking to build credibility within the AVAX ecosystem and wanted to partner up with us to get that accomplished. Now, this is a very kind of common thing where if you're a small-time creator, you're trying to like have your breakthrough, and you'll have people that just don't have a name reach out to you because they are trying to build some sort of an audience. And it is very much a gray area of, do you trust this? Do you not trust this? And this is where, I mean, how do you improve on this? How do you make this better going down the path of the Web3 world? Because this is only going to get much more intense. And do AI agents actually save us from that? So let's get back into it. So I had an initial call, and they put a package together for them. Or then we put a package together for them. Yo, Kyle, what's going on? Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you. This is every KOL's dream, zero negotiation. But this came with some red flags. The contact was literally copy plus pasta from a message I had sent on Telegram. Nothing changed, same formatting and everything, which is a little bit strange on an offer. They also stated they wanted to pay the full amount of the contract up front. Massive red flag for the dollar figure we were talking about, but a great appeal to emotions. customers. Then they followed up with a pitch about advisory when they tried to send the famous spreadsheet. I told the team bluntly, I'm not opening a single thing until you pay our first contract. Until you pay it, we will not be discussing any contracts. Plus, I'm a humble marketing and growth guy. Why do I need to check an API? They said they understood and would be paying the contract shortly. Now, this is the only thing that's like a little odd to me, I suppose, because is it always something that you would get the contract like up front and say, hey, we haven't done anything yet, but you're going to give money for it? Feels like you would go and like do the work and then get paid, unless I'm like perceiving this completely wrong. We started piecing together details and the scam became extremely obvious. All of this to say these guys were almost really good at what they were trying to do. They seemed legitimate. They had a great website, said all the right things, spoke of a deep partnership with the Ava Labs team, etc. A lazy contract with zero legal jargon, a sizable upfront payment in full with zero protection for the business, and 2 DMs to verify reputation were all it took to figure these guys out. And again, I mean, like, is it normal that you pay all up front for a contract? I need to, listen, maybe I'm a fish and I don't know that. But again, we'll continue on the thread of scams through every episode. Let's get into the Pokemon craze as of late. So I've made the argument, right? I've tried to sit here and say Pokemon's going parabolic and nobody, and I mean nobody within the industry, is giving crypto any credit. And we've gone through the massive amount of different platforms that are tokenizing real-world assets. So Pokemon cards are considered real-world assets now, eh? And he had like a chuckle over that, and I thought it was kind of funny because again, he's bigger upper echelon, came from Goldman Sachs sort of deal, and his perception of like the term real-world assets is more, the tokenized stocks, all this kind of quote unquote like more serious business where we're all like, hey, listen, you know what? If these cards have value, if these sports collectibles have value, whatever it may be, that's something that younger people are actually really vibing with. And so Bankless made a post kind of going through like a ton of different platforms. So Courtyard, Collector Crypt, Fidgetals, TCG Emporium, Rip.Fun, Grail DG, ToeCAD, BZ, Dilly, Drip Shop. You can add segment in there. There's like, and think of each of these platforms. Did I put September 5th? Shut up. Jeez. Okay, hold on. I got to fix that. Well, actually, screw it. We can put it on there. Who cares? We're back in time, Hoonsy. What's going on? But the point being is you think of all these different platforms and each of them going out and spending how much to fulfill their marketplaces, because it's something that just doesn't happen right away, right? Like if I'm sitting here and I say, okay, me and Hoonsy, we're offering up a online card shop. And then me and Hoonsy look at each other and we're like, what are we going to put in the store? And then I look and I say, I have a first edition Cloister card and maybe a couple of other like loose ends. And then Hoonsy's looking around and he's like, I got this, that, and the other thing. And we have maybe 40 to 50 cards of any sort of value that we can put on the platform. And we're like, okay, so in a business, we got to figure out how to scale for the millions, the billions that are coming on chain, right? And then where are we going to do that? Well, we're going to have to go out and buy all of these cards. And so I think one of the run-ups with Pokemon cards is, sure, obviously the collectibles are hot and whatnot, but I really do think that the crypto tokenization platforms of Pokemon cards play a huge role, and none of that is getting paid attention to. And Bankless making an article about that, just trying to highlight that is the case. Vert, absolutely just ripping crypto gaming. Oh, Lord, what is this? Crypto gaming content creation has been completely ruined this year, and surprisingly, all stars align to make it the worst niche to create content around. Here is everything that happened in the span of a year. So we'll go through this, but for anybody that watches the stream, we don't really do that much gaming content, right? Like we've done quick guides or short streams talking about the Third Kingdom. We did the Readyverse early access that if you check out the YouTube page, you'll be able to find that. What else did we do? We did the Other Side trips when that was around. We've done Gods Unchained before. On a couple different games, but and Cambria. When Cambria came out for like their season 2 or whatever it was, we played that heavily. But we're not really out here and doing that much within the crypto gaming sphere. And I just think like it's so nitpicky, and trying to get traction on certain games is in a really weird spot. So I'm curious what that looks like overall. But in terms of content creation, what are some of the things that were bad that happened this year? So airdrop and rewards decreasing to laughable levels. Most of the gaming content was focused on play to airdrop farms and play to earn strategies. But as time passed, new token launches either got constantly delayed or they went to zero. This made most of the real audience leave Twitter and find a real job making Twitter more business to business. So let's digress this for a second. Do you think that airdrops for games were better, a couple years ago, a couple months ago? And to the point now where we just say they're pretty bad. I'd agree that there was a lot of them that just didn't end up happening. I mean, I know Hoonsy was into the Valhalla, which is a anime sort of PFP collection that said, hey, we're going to go out and build a streaming platform. And then they came out and they decided they were going to do like limited edition keyboards for sale. And we were like, well, that wasn't supposed to be what you guys were doing. And then for these games, we've seen a lot of them just in general shut down. And number 2, the Twitter algo. Twitter mostly pushes posts that are either showcasing rewards, funning on someone, or anything really focused on earning. This made posting videos and reviews of anything really meaningfully low-key impossible. Even this tweet will not go viral as there is too much yapping and almost zero tips for making money. And when we get to the end of this stream, we're going to highlight the reasons why it's kind of important that that's included to a point of it. And when I say kind of important, in a lot of cases, it's the only thing that ends up mattering for whatever reason. And then other platforms. Growing outside of Twitter with Web3 games is impossible. 90% of streamers are and were viewbotting, which gave them a shit ton of deals from games like Tokyo Beast, but converted 0 people. TikTok doesn't promote Web3 games as they are ass compared to Web2 stuff. And don't get me started on YouTube content, which is not even gaming focused. So let's kind of talk about this one for a little bit. And one thing that I wanted to do, and I'm going to kind of jump around here for a second, is that I wanted to try to showcase, because I'm trying to think here instead. I'm like, what's interesting for you guys, right? Like what's actually interesting instead of me just yapping and looking at whatnot. And so I posted a stats kind of, okay, so here it is. And these are a couple of the live streams from last week. And it's funny because I'm talking about streaming at a certain time and we're supposed to do like 4 or 5 p.m. and it's like 2:30, so just X-nay on that aspect. But you take a look. So on Friday, you can see that the stream that I did had about 23 views within 9 hours. The one before that, which was a much longer stream, had 53, 48, 57. Okay, cool. Now I don't know, if you go around and you tell your friend, hey, yeah, like I do YouTube videos and they got like 50 views per. People will be like, well, you suck. And I'm like, okay, dude, that's brutal. But then you think about it, you're like, all right, well, if you have 50 people that tune in every day, that's like triple the size of any class that I've had. You like the Borat thumbnail on the bottom there? Are NFTs back? Not. But the point that I'm trying to highlight with this is it's crypto content and there's not an insane amount for it. Now, it's super broad. It's whatever else, right? And so what I want to get to is this morning, I posted a TikTok. About NFL and hot dogs, of all things. And this might be the most viral video I have ever done, and it has been a few hours. Okay? So if we go to, how the hell do I find this? I drag the slider to fit the puzzle. I know that I'm not showing the screen here. I just don't know what's going to pop up as I'm trying to go through this. I was trying to find the studio, but it's not going to. Okay. All right. So take a look at this. This has almost 5,000 views in a couple of hours. And shout out to Matthew A over here looking like an absolute friggin' beauty. And okay, so take a look at this. The average is $7.02 across the league, but in the bottom, drum roll please, the Cleveland Browns at $3.41, and the absolute low of the low. The Walking Dead was apparently filmed in Atlanta, and they got the cheapest hot dogs at the stadium. It's the Atlanta Falcons at $2. Ah, banger, brother. Okay, so that's cool. That's great. That's awesome. But it's sports content. It's not Web3. And I have 5,000 views on this in like less than 2 hours? What the hell is this? So the point that they're trying to make there a moment ago with talking about how like gaming stuff and like getting these algos and everything else, like, if you can find something that's popular, and if something does get popular, these algorithms, again, NFL first Sunday of the season, the regular season, it's feasting on that kind of stuff. But who the hell looks up crypto gaming right now? Really? Who does? Well, maybe back in the day when Logan Paul was purchasing an NFT for $623,000 that's apparently now worth $10, which is that kind of a bait headline because I think those rare ones for Oni 4s are actually worth more than that. But let's look at the collection itself. So back in the day, what happened traditionally was a celebrity was going to launch an NFT project and they needed to create an audience of some sort. So what they would do is go out and purchase certain NFT collections and so, hey, I'm a member of the community. And back then we all ate that stuff up. We get to go around, brag to our normal friends of, yo, Logan Paul, you know that guy? Yo, he's got one of the NFTs that I have. And so I think for that one, I don't know if we're going to be able to find K4M. Ooh, oh, okay. So there we go. So this is a cluster of those like super rare. Apparently there's only like 7 of them. Back in the day, you can see the 188 ETH one that was bought from Logan Paul. So. These celebrities bought them and then launched a collection, and usually things went completely sideways, right? But now they're saying like this collection is worth $10. I mean, these rare ones, last sales 25, 33, 78, 0.46 is probably before like the reveal or whatever. It's an inaccurate headline, right? But the collection still exists and people were paying attention to it because somebody made them pay attention to it. They'd already kind of had that status. So relating back to the content creator point, again, you're kind of very subject to a very small niche audience. We're still going to be here. We're going to be covering this kind of stuff because I think that it's an interesting niche. That's why you're here too. Love you for it. Watcher Guru, just in, Sol Strategies becomes the first Solana treasury company to be approved for a Nasdaq listing. So we're seeing everybody going out and having these crypto treasury companies of sorts, and now we're going to get them listed on the stock market. What happens there? 5 sales. $1,200 today for Power Pudgy. Instant sell getting close to floor prices. Will we see a supply shock soon? The Pudged Penguin skin for this new game from Pudgy Penguins has just been all of the talk on the timeline. You've probably seen it, right? Where people are highlighting this thing, and it's all about the money. And you've seen the gameplay probably here and there, and it looks cool. It's like Fall Guys like 2.0. But if knowing that you could have gotten a skin, or you can get a skin that's worth potentially $16,000 American, would you go and play that game? How do you make money on this game? I think the skins are just simply tradable. And so if you do well, or if you're a part of it at a certain point, you're just able to sell it. Now, I haven't played the game, so that's kind of like a cop-out answer, but I'm imagining it's like the majority of games where if you're there early, if you're there late, if you do something when other people don't, and it's a viable asset, people are going to break out the bank. Okay, so when we talk about money, this is like the craziness, okay? So Cam Hayward, who plays in the NFL, was talking about how he hasn't made enough for his family. But he's only earned $145 million within his career. So sure, it's a business, sure, it's everything under the sun, but like, I guess the question with it is like, what are these people that have infinite amounts of money spending it on? Is it gambling? Is it other businesses? Is it lavish lifestyles? How the hell have you not earned enough to have 145 million? So, I mean, the average person, right? You even less than $1 million, and they're good for life. 145 mil, not enough. What the hell is going on? Now, another really random sports news. Angel Reese says her team's garbolage, and the team says we're going to bench you for the first quarter. What is going on? And then you're telling me that Home Depot is going to be selling a 7.5-foot animated Chewbacca for $350. So on the Cam Hayward aspect, what do we do? 140 million divided by 350? How many Chewbaccas could that guy buy for his house for Christmas time? Unreal. Things that we're buying. Kind of expensive. But $350, I mean, listen, it doesn't go the same way that it used to. Leap Year talking about their donation platform, which is actually kind of cool, and we probably not looked at too much, but everyone told me a donation platform wouldn't work. Not to waste my time, and that no one would ever fund it. Decided to put my money on the line and do it myself. It's been 3 months since launch, and we've processed more than $800,000 in donations, just the start. Super cool for that. I think it's in their bios here, donate.gg. I'm going to look at it super quick, but again, you're wanting to donate something to a specific charity. They have Team Water, Chinatown, UNICEF, St. Jude's Children's Hospital, World Wildlife Fund, Innocence Project, and Best Friends. That aspect is super cool. And you can see on the bottom here, a bunch of people that are donating different water and having a tag. Now, this takes me back to the day when you used to go to a grocery store, right? And you could donate the $1, $5, or whatever, and they would give you like a star and you could write your name on it. And then they would put it up behind the cashier. And then you would sit there and like try to read and see if you recognized anybody's name. And that was a super cool thing back in the day. And so I do like the touch on the bottom here where they have a bunch of people's donation along with just kind of a word. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Clueless and confident. That is me, and that's the new slogan we're going by. Doesn't matter if you're clueless as long as you are confident about it. That's words to live by, if you will. The Senate Banking Committee draft excludes, not in the picture, staking, airdrop, and decentralized physical infrastructure networks from securities law. Not too bad, Brumalauchi. Holy smokes. So much higher, to be honest. It's always a question, right, about like the new government regulations. Like, things seem like they're going in a good direction, but it is actually the case. Well, headlines like that, I'm going to say, hell yeah. We already went through that a little bit earlier. And the Game of Thrones NFTs. You guys know that Game of Thrones tried to do something and launch a digital collectible of sorts? It's a crazy series, right? Monumentally huge. And the fact that that name came into Web3 before made everybody look at it. Now, the problem with that is that you can see when you're looking at this, like, Game of Thrones has, like, a lot of fantasy in it, right? But, like, look at these hands. Like, what's going on with this? And so you can kind of tell, all right, maybe the team didn't really come through with the best intentions. And like on Reddit here from 3 years ago, are Game of Thrones NFTs really a thing? Game of Thrones NFTs have been around since season 8. No effing thanks. What's with his hands? It's a long claw of House Mormont. Just goes through all this kind of stuff, right? But it's like, it wasn't really good first impression. I don't think they actually did anything, and it was just a scene. So let's talk for a second about the world order, right? Because we haven't had like a crash out of any sorts. So this Charlie guy goes over to like South, where is it? Yeah, South Korea, and it shows that on lawns there's a bunch of like inflatable things and just niceties, right? And you think of like different places, you can't leave anything outside anymore, and people are just going to steal it. Like you can't have nice things, and so where can you have nice things? In the online community, in the comfort of your home. I think that's going to be a bigger component continually. As we go down continually, it's going to continue to be a big deal. So that's why we're paying attention to what's going on online. Another scam here from Alexander Choi. Every coin has a community page, so I didn't really think anything of it. It is engagement from the founder, and I had some solid mutuals. And some of my friends who are Spark whales were following the page as well. Everything seemed pretty clean. They hit me up a little bit ago regarding a partnership opportunity. And while I never show any coins on my socials whatsoever, you can verify this yourself, I thought it'd still be a good opportunity to connect with different founders in Web3. Nothing out of the ordinary for me. And now this goes on and saying like I scheduled a call, everything else, and then they get compromised. And so everything under the sun, even though, you have the mutuals, if that account gets compromised, even if it's legitimate, you're kind of screwed. So you have to double check everything. Think about it. If I randomly hit you up for coming on stream or something, think about it. Is it actually me? Do we have a code word? But the fries in the bag. That's going to be the code word. Always be vigilant. Always be careful. We're covering like 15 scams a day if we wanted to here, but we're only picking and choosing a couple of them. And then, oh my God. Have you guys seen the story of the Philadelphia Phillies lady? Oh my goodness. So she's like so at a baseball game, right? There's like a home run, whatever hit, and a dad gets a ball, gives it to his kid. This lady comes over to the dad. Dad's like, what are we doing here? And like the lady tries stealing the ball back from him. He gets it. And this person got absolutely rinsed on the timeline forever. They were trying to like find who it was. They got like a name, but then there was people that weren't involved with it that Like got socially attacked to the point they changed their profile photo on Facebook. They're like, hi, I'm not the lady in that video. I'm a Red Sox fan. Like just all this other crazy stuff. And then you got people out here who's making, I'm assuming this gets sold as like an NFT at some point, but people capturing history within a unique way. And it's hilarious. So over the past couple of days and weeks, we've been talking about 100 mil market cap. And have you not noticed that everybody is suddenly bringing up the 100 mil market cap? Now, I understand that like probably nobody within the industry watches me, and that's okay. That is absolutely okay. But we've been saying the 100 mil market cap thing for a little bit, and all of a sudden, I'm seeing everybody bringing that up. There are so many alts under 100 mil market cap that will be a bill valuation for when the market returns. I agree. I don't know how many exactly it is. When we talk about this and we use the CoinGecko compare cryptocurrencies tools, that's one of the reasons that we do it for. So question for you. When was the last NFT that you minted? Was it good? Was it bad? Can you think of any NFTs that were minted lately? Except for Hoonsy's collection? Hell yeah, brother. Got a couple of them. But it does feel like we've generally completely stopped on minting NFTs. When ApeChain first came out, there was like 7 a day. And everybody's so segregated right now. It's just, we don't really have anything that's new, exciting, or taking over the timeline. We just don't. Spencer from Vibes TCG. Most TCGs print millions of booster boxes per release. Set 1 and 2 of Vibes each only have 15,000 total supply of booster boxes. Most people don't understand how small that is. So there's been a lot of massive sales within the Vibes community, from people reselling boxes to having graded cards on auction. One went for like $12,000 the other day. And that's cool. But I think the actual like really cool thing, apart from the success it's having, is that we have the transparency of knowing, hey, this is at a 15,000, because we try to, as humans, rationalize everything. And as soon as you realize, hey, for Pokemon, for Magic the Gathering, for these other cards, there is like zero transparency on how many cards are actually printed. Very awesome to see within the Web3 side that there is some sort of transparency for that. So my wife went to the store for a quick shop to get these items, says Mr. Sunshine Baby. This cost $77,000 Canadian. Even though Tylenol and Advil will still cost roughly $45 for milk, eggs, bread, cheese, and sponges. You can see how the average person and family in Canada would have a hard time keeping up with bills if this measly grocery run was this expensive. So $70, and if you're watching on audio, which you would not be watching, you would be listening. Thank you. But it's bread, cheese, sponge, milk, eggs, a couple of other stuff. The dollar devaluation is absurd, and I have never in my lifetime, since the past couple of months, noticed people complaining daily about how expensive things are. And what do you see? How can people fight back against that? And what would they do with that? Where would you go? Oh, maybe the crypto space, where there is that transparency. You don't have this paper cash. You don't know what's going on with the play. We don't want to go on a rant. We can go on a rant. But people are waking up. People who are not there cannot comprehend what was going on 4 years ago. So in the Solana ecosystem, I don't even know what the hell collection it is. It's a yellow house that's in, I don't know, a forest somewhere. A person dropped $250,000 on a virtual house. He then sold it 6 months later for $8,000. Today, Soul Steed's floor is $96 with no sales in the last 4 days. So the question of 4 years ago, this $250,000 sale, was it somebody that was genuinely thinking, hey, you know what, this prime real estate within this metaverse, this game is going to be worth that? Was it the likes of Logan Paul that we looked at earlier that was intending on launching a collection and they wanted to buy something and it was a celebrity? But I don't know if I've ever actually heard of Soul Steeds before, respectfully. It's very interesting. Now, this Arumec person quote tweeted somebody that had an image of a wizard walking through a village and said, "Quit using my art, you goon." Then you look over and you check and you say, oh, so they just took this person's art and they shoved it in some AI program and said, animate it. What does it look like when you have to verify IP or get some sort of royalties for that when used online? And this is where I know for Story Protocol, that's sort of what they're intending on doing, and something I need to look into more Maybe try to do a deep dive of some sort. But it is something that's a very genuine question of what does this look like down the line. The Kong token generating event will take place in 10. Well, not 10 days. It's going to be in a day. Wait, today is September 8th, so 2 days. Wednesday. The Kong TGE will take place. Token generating event. I was going to say something completely different. That's why I paused for a second. It sounded really weird. Mind had to comprehend what it was. So if you spent, I believe it was $10,000 in 2023 on NFTs on OpenSea or in general, you're going to qualify for 2%. It's like a pool for everybody that qualified, right, of the token supply for that. So Wednesday, you might be getting a little bit of an airdrop. Not too bad. Back to Spencer here for a second for vibes. Had 5 people call me this morning from traditional trading card games world being like, we've never seen anything like this for what's happening. So I want to give a little bit of a story here for a second because I think that this is very interesting. And to give context, we've talked about how their original booster boxes are doing really well. I think they've like completely sold out of the Legend of the Lils, or there's platforms that are still selling boxes, but massive amounts of them, right? And it's just in general, like it's got gamers, it's got every sort of like aspect that would be going for it. Now, I mean, maybe you can make the argument of like, hey, you know, it's not to the heights that it can be and everything else. And sure. But there is a guy called LS, and LS is a streamer for League of Legends. He has like a ton of following, like a huge following. And at one point, he got into trying to do a card game, right? So a guy with massive amount of followings, got all these connections, bunch of well-off esports pros that could probably help him out because he does coaching and everything. And this is global, right? Like he's been all around the world. I think he lives in Korea, but massive connections within the United States. He tried doing a card game. Gave it like a little bit. I remember seeing videos about it, and then it was just like kind of like, it's too much competition. I'm not going to do it. And so to think that a Web3 based card game is having the success that it is, kind of without a name. Like, so Pudgy Penguins obviously is massive, right? But Vibes is kind of like its own thing. It's a little bit different. And maybe that was enough to like spark it what it is. But seeing the massive uproar and interest from it, I do think that like traditionally for trading card games, it's pretty impressive. So earlier I said before, you know, we get to the end of the stream, we're going to talk about how it's really all about the money. Money. So check this out. How does this make you feel reading this headline? Turn a few hours of Play Pudgy Party into $500 a week. Players aren't just having fun in Pudgy Party, they're making money. Rare skins and talismans are already selling for hundreds. Here's you can start to earn. Now, as a friendly reminder, if you want to know if somebody's using ChatGPT or AI, these like elongated hyphens here, it's always like an absolute dead giveaway because nobody removes them, but like ChatGPT spits it out like crazy. It's really funny to see. Which, I mean, it's fine. I don't care. Use AI. It's great. Love it, too. But the headline itself, $500 a week for playing a game. How many people is that going to get kind of eyes on? I think, you know what? It'd be okay. It would be okay. And then final story that I'm going to leave you with today. So scrolling, doing a little bit of research this morning on CoinDesk, and I came across this. Tetra Digital raises $10 million to create a regulated Canadian dollar stablecoin. The firm targeting an early 2026 launch, backed by investors such as Shopify, which is like a e-commerce store sort of deal, Wealthsimple, which is like your Canadian version of Robinhood, and National Bank, which I don't need to explain what National Bank is because it's the bank that's national. What to know? Tetra Digital Group has raised $10 million to develop a regulated stablecoin pegged to the Canadian dollar. The stablecoin will be backed one-to-one with Canadian dollar reserves and is planned for release in early 2026, subject to regulatory approval. The firm targets Canadian dollar payments and remittances at scale, it said in a press release. So I'm going to talk slightly out of turn for a second. But I believe in 2026, there is some iOS 2222, something. There is some massive thing that is supposed to be like the global standard for understanding digital payments, and like the system is like actually changing to go towards, or at least offering within this. And I'm going to need to do a little bit more research because this is something off the back of my mind that I remember. But seeing these different countries, because I haven't heard of Canada doing like anything regarding stablecoins whatsoever. This is the first time I've heard about it. Maybe I'm a fish, but what other countries are going to do that? What does it look like for the regulation around stablecoins and just everything else under the sun? So this is, I mean, listen, things are happening. It's exciting. And we're going to cover it, of course. Hoonsy, thank you so much for coming on through. You are an absolute beauty. And anybody watching afterwards, again, if you're joining a little bit late and you're wondering what's going on with the title, let me kind of just re-bring up what that is all about. Because there is apparently a pretty massive compromise that is going on as of right now. The CTO of Ledger made a post saying there's a large-scale supply chain attack in progress. The NPM account of a reputable developer has been compromised. The affected packages have already been downloaded over 1 billion times, meaning the entire JavaScript ecosystem may be at risk. The malicious payload works by silently swapping crypto addresses on the fly to steal funds. If you use a hardware wallet, pay attention to every transaction before signing and you're safe. If you don't use a hardware wallet, refrain from making any on-chain transactions for now. It's still unclear whether the attacker is also stealing seeds from software wallets directly at this stage. So big problem. CTO of Ledger. We got Saigar from Pudgy and other stuff as well, and Abstract just raising the warning signs. If you got anybody within the space, listen, message them, tell them, take a day off from doing anything on chain, and hopefully we'll be back to normal as usual. And we will be on the stream. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.